Alright, so I broke the fast with a shit ton of cheese and salami. So cheese overall, probably had like 8 ounces of cheese, so that's probably around 800 calories. We're gonna put that up. We're gonna start the tally now. 800 calories of cheese, probably like 1,000,000 grams of fat. I'll get the exact numbers up here. So 800 calories, cheese about, had like 400 calories of salami to start off. So before Thanksgiving dinner even started, that's where we're at. Then, the short rib you guys just saw, short rib's usually around 200 calories per 4 ounces, and I had 3 4-ounce servings on the bones. That puts me at 12 ounces. So that's gonna tally up to, I don't know what. I'm gonna keep adding the tally up there. What do I have next? What are we doing next, Mom? What are we doing next?
Next is all the turkey, filet mignon.
Turkey next, filet mignon next, sweet potato, mashed potatoes, stuffed mushrooms, stuffed artichokes, rice stuffing with black truffle, broccolini. Oh, the rice stuffing has sausage in it, so that's what we're doing next.
And mozzarella cheese.
And the mozzarella, you got the mozzarella. Alright, so I forgot to mention that the short rib was sous vide for 72 hours, or a little bit less than that actually, because I didn't want to go the full 72 hours because throwing it in the sauce for several hours would probably be overkill, so we did it for about 2.5 days. So that was that. But right now what I'm going to do, and just to see how we're doing for the day, I'm going to do a pre and post Thanksgiving blood pressure reading. Do I have this on right?
Yes.
Alright, perfect. So we're going to start this now. I've only eaten a little bit so far today, so we're gonna see how
on the table.
All right, resting it on the table. We're gonna see what this reads to start off the night. I've already eaten some, so maybe I'll just eat even more than I originally planned on doing. Try to make this the 0 point. What's your guess? Where am I? It's probably hot already.
136 over 72.
My mom, who's a nurse, says 135 over 62?
72.
72. Okay, that's more reasonable. It's probably high, but it's going to be way higher.
And the more you talk and look at it, it's higher.
$134 over 75.
Whoa!
What was your number?
136 over 72.
All right, we'll call this the pre, even though I've already eaten some, but there's a lot more to come. So I woke up this morning. My guess is probably 85 kilos. Because I went to bed around 86 after fasting, and I usually lose about 1 kilo overnight. So we'll call the pre-Thanksgiving weigh-in 85 kilos or 187.5 pounds. We'll call the pre-blood pressure reading 134 over 75. And we'll see what the post-weight is, and we'll see what the post-blood pressure is. I have a feeling I'm going to feel very bad about myself in a couple hours. Alright, so Thanksgiving is over. I ate all my food. None of the dessert was gluten-free, and I felt comatose. But sometimes you just let out a little burp, and it just frees up like another 2,000 calories of space. So right now we're doing a nice little gluten-free bagel with peanut butter and bananas. And this will be the last thing I eat for the day. So it's going to put the tally up at whatever this says right now, because I'm not calculating it right now. And to end the day, we're going to see what good old blood pressure sitting at after a lovely dinner. So, Dean, for those who don't know, Dean is my brother. I'm calling his name right now. Yes, our names are only 1 letter apart.
Hello.
Okay.
What would you guess my blood pressure is going to be now? It was 135 over 72, I think, before, or 75.
Yeah.
75.
What are we saying it's gonna be now, huh?
Alright.
What's my blood pressure at?
137 over 75.
142 over.
How do I start
76.
it? Oh, there we go. And we're off. I'm gonna keep eating this bagel for max effect.
Did you get your mother's cue there? 142 over 76?
Mom says 142 over 76.
It said 137 over 75.
I was pretty almost on the last one.
Breathing a little heavy right now, so we'll see. 132 over 87.
87. See, if I knew what blood pressure.
That lower number is pretty high, right?
It's not that bad, but it's up there, buddy.
132 over 87. And to be accurate, because it's not fair to give you a night weigh-in to compare to a morning weigh-in. Remember, so it was 85 kilos this morning. Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, I'll give you my post-Thanksgiving weigh-in, and we'll see just how fat I got. I hope you enjoy Thanksgiving. Happy day after Thanksgiving, guys. Let me get out of Tom's way so we can deadlift right now. It's Friday, and today we have what will be an all-time volume PR. Looks so pretty, doesn't it? 419 pounds for 9 sets of 3 today. This is usually the weaker day of bench during the week, but since it's prescribed, there's literally no chance that I miss it because I haven't missed any reps on bench. I almost said I haven't missed any, but I know deadlift's been going bad, so we're gonna ignore that. But we have 9 sets of 3 with 419 pounds right now. This will be an all-time volume PR. This will be the heaviest weight that I've worked in since starting this block, and it'll be a very good indicator of what happens next week for the AMRAP. So, I'm not gonna keep talking. I'm just gonna set this camera up for that first set. Look how beautiful this deadlift is. Don't you wish your arms that long? Tom, teach me how to make my arms longer.
Just hang.
Just hang.
All day.
Guys, just hang.
Oh, that was rough.
Don't say I didn't get all the good girls go to hell, 'cause you got yourself. That's the reason once the water starts to.
Alright guys, so we just finished up benching. You guys just saw the 9th set of 3 with 419 pounds, which is an all-time volume PR. Nick's liftoffs are great, but Tom's been hooking me up real nice lately, so I gotta thank my boy Tom over here. Probably because he deadlifts like fucking 735 pounds. But anyway, it's very uncharacteristic for me for the last set to be the best, but with bench it turns out to be the case. Mostly because I just try harder. Like I'm less gassed after doing sets of bench, understandably, than with squats and deadlifts, so I'm able to really just like build up the excitement as I go through the sets to say, okay, I'm only gonna film my 9th set on my phone, so like I better make it look good. And I just wanna take this time to talk about why arching on bench is not cheating. Because a lot of people, specifically non-powerlifters, will comment all the time about how arching is cheating on bench and how it's not a real range of motion, or how it's not a real lift, whatever. And I wanna bring a fresh new perspective as to why that's bullshit. So obviously if we're talking about why It's not the best for hypertrophy. We all know full range of motion through any joint movement is going to be the best for hypertrophy. However, the reasons, and the obvious reason and the not so obvious reason why it's not cheating is that, first of all, it's in the rules that you can arch the way that I do on bench. There are certain constraints, and just like with every other sport, you try to adhere to the constraints to try to maximize your, your outcome, right? You optimize things based on your own leverages, talents, skill sets, blah, 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 to make sure that you have the best possible outcome. Nobody in powerlifting ever complains about arches. It's always people who are not powerlifting. So I just want to offer some perspective as to why it's not cheating, and I think that we can dispel a lot of this nonsense. First of all, the claim is that it's easier. It is easier once you get good at it, right? But think of it this way. I guess an analogy would be to say, like, the only real way to coach lifters is to handwrite their program and then mail it to them. It's not real coaching if you guys have a Google Drive running, right? It's like, yes, it's easier and more efficient to have a Google Drive where you can just edit things and then the other person on the other side can see it, right? But there's a lot of stuff that goes into setting that up, right? There's a lot of stuff you have to do, a lot of work you have to do before you can make your life easier. It's the same thing with bench, right? Like, your life could be more tedious and you could bench with a full range of motion in competition and get style points from all the bodybuilders that comment on stuff on Instagram, but the amount of technique work you have to do over and over and over again to actually be strong and stabilize that demanding of a position, it's a lot of work. You have to pay your dues essentially for a long time to be able to bench that way. Only then does it become easier. The next thing is that you have to continue to pay it forward if you bench that way, meaning you have to do a lot more benching to be able to get strong with that range of motion. If you are benching 3 times a week with that kind of arch, chances are you're not going to get stronger, right? You can do it with a full range of motion, benching 2-3 times a week, and a lot of people make progress because putting your muscles through that full range of motion is what's going to build more muscle and more strength, but you also can't handle as much of it. So, in contrast, when you bench with a crazy arch, you probably have to double the workload of somebody who's not arching like crazy, right? And then the last final point I want to make, which is probably something people don't think about, is that it can't be cheating, right? Because people will say, oh, that's not a real rep, that doesn't count. But if you think about it, right, it's allowed in powerlifting, which is the only sport where the weight on the bar is actually meaningful at all, right? Only in powerlifting does you having a certain weight on the bar actually mean anything for your sport, right? And since it's allowed by the rules of powerlifting, there's nothing wrong with it. The people who complain are usually bodybuilders, but guess what? They're only complaining because of their egos, because if you're a bodybuilder, the only thing that matters is building muscle and progressive overload. The weight on the bar means nothing for the sport of bodybuilding because it's not a metric by which anybody is judged in bodybuilding. So if you have somebody commenting saying it's not a real rep, what does that even mean? Because in their sport, the only thing that matters is how much tissue they have, and to get more tissue, they just have to keep progressing, right? There's no absolute weight on a bar that actually has any significance along the course of their bodybuilding journey, right? So if you're complaining that it's not a real rep and you're mad that you've done a weight with a real range of motion, like, congratulations, you benched 405 with, a relatively flat back and you came down, that's great for you. But that has no relevance to your sport. That has no relevance to your sport. It's only relevant to your ego, right? Which, if you're a bodybuilder worrying about how much you can bench press, right? And you're so heavily fixated on that, you're probably focused on the wrong things, right? Because as a bodybuilder, it's not the goal of your sport, nor does it benefit you to chase numbers, right? It doesn't even benefit you to be so fixated on numbers in powerlifting when that's the primary metric by which you're being evaluated. But if you're bodybuilding, you definitely have it fucked up if that's what you're worried about. So that's my little rant about why arching is not cheating. I'm going to move on to accessories now, and then I'm probably going to go meet up with one of my old friends from college who is in the area. Probably one of my best friends from school. Yeah, so that's all I really have for you guys. And my body weight this morning was 87.2 kilos, which is about 192.2 pounds. So we gained about 4.5 pounds, almost 5 pounds from yesterday, which is not that much. And I'm glad that I fasted because, one, I was just more full early on. Like, my stomach was just shrunk from fasting. And then 2, I got to wake up pretty much the same way that I always wake up anyway. So it was definitely worth it. I'm gonna move on to accessories like I said. We'll see you guys later.
They want me dead. They want me dead. put that price on my head.
No, no, no. They want me dead or alive. They want me dead or alive. I'm just trying to survive. You niggas falling behind. You never crossing my mind, put that shit on my life. They want me dead or alive. They want me dead or alive. I'm just trying to survive. You niggas falling behind. You never crossing my mind, put that shit on my life. Niggas look like virgins, washed up on the tide of detergent. I feel like Ja back in 99. Niggas see me scream murder. I walk around and scream murder. Nowadays everybody getting murdered. The judge asked for the verdict, then he looked at the jury. No!